start talking, we're going to be reading a story, but first we're going to be reading the Bible, and then we're going to be reading the synopsis, and then we're going to be reading the Pilgrim's Progress. I hope you guys enjoy. Make sure to like button, subscribe, and bell on the video. Here's my dad to read the Bible. See ya.
I think our Bible reading this time might be longer than the Pilgrim's Progress reading. So we have that to look forward to if you think the Pilgrim's Progress is too long. Yeah, we're on Exodus chapter 28. We're going to be reading about the garments that the priests wore, which is so exciting. So let's go ahead and get started. This is the English Standard Version. Exodus chapter 28. Thank you for that notification. Reminds me to just turn off my notifications. All right, here we go. Then bring near to you Aaron, your brother, and his sons with him, from among the people of Israel, to serve me as priests. Aaron and Aaron's sons, Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar. And you shall make holy garments for Aaron your brother, for glory and for beauty. You shall speak to all the skillful whom I have filled with the spirit of skill, that they make Aaron's garments to consecrate him for my priesthood. These are the garments that they shall make: a breastpiece, an ephod, a robe, a coat of checker work, a turban, and a sash. They shall make holy garments for Aaron your brother and his sons, and serve me as priests. They shall receive gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet yarns, and fine twined linen. And they shall make the ephod of gold, of blue and purple, and scarlet yarns, and of fine twined linen, skillfully worked. It shall have 2 shoulder pieces attached to its 2 edges, so that it may be joined together, and the skillfully woven band on it shall be made like it, and be of one piece with it, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet yarns, and fine twined linen. You shall take 2 onyx stones, and engrave on them the names of the sons of Israel, 6 of their names on the one stone, and the names of the remaining 6 on the other stone, in the order of their birth. As a jeweler engraves signets, so shall you engrave the 2 stones with the names of the sons of Israel. You shall enclose them in settings of gold filigree, and you shall set the 2 stones on the shoulder pieces of the ephod as stones of remembrance for the sons of Israel. And Aaron shall bear their names before the Lord on his 2 shoulders for remembrance. You shall make settings of gold filigree, and 2 chains of pure gold, twisted like cords, and you shall attach the corded chains to the settings. You shall make a breastpiece of judgment in skilled work, in the style of the ephod you shall make it, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet yarns, and fine twined linen shall you make it. It shall be square and doubled, a span its length, and a span its breadth. You shall set it in 4 rows of stones, a row of sardius, topaz, and carbuncle shall be the first row, and the second row an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond, and the third row a jacinth, an agate, and an amethyst, and the 4th row a beryl, an onyx, and a jasper. They shall be set in gold filigree. There shall be 12 stones with their names according to the names of the sons of Israel. They shall be like signets, each engraved with its name for the 12 tribes. You shall make for the breastpiece twisted chains like cords of pure gold, and you shall make for the breastpiece 2 rings of gold, and put the 2 rings on the 2 edges of the breastpiece. And you shall put the 2 cords of gold in the 2 rings as the edges of the breastpiece. The 2 ends of the 2 cords you shall attach to the 2 settings of filigree, and so attach it in front to the shoulder pieces of the ephod. You shall make 2 rings of gold, and put them at the 2 ends of the breastpiece, on its inside edge next to the ephod. And you shall make 2 rings of gold, and attach them in front of the lower part of the 2 shoulder pieces of the ephod, at its seam above the skillfully woven band of the ephod. And they shall bind the breastpiece by its rings to the rings of the ephod with a lace of blue, so that it may lie on the skillfully woven band of the ephod, so that the breastpiece shall not come loose from the ephod. So Aaron shall bear the names of the sons of Israel in the breastpiece of judgment on his heart when he goes into the holy place, to bring them to regular remembrance before the Lord. And in the breastpiece of judgment you shall put the Urim and the Thummim, and they shall be on Aaron's heart when he goes in before the Lord. Thus Aaron shall bear the judgment of the people of Israel on his heart before the Lord regularly. You shall make the robe of the ephod all of blue. It shall have an opening for the head in the middle of it, with a woven binding around the opening, like the opening in a garment, so that it may not tear. On its hem you shall make pomegranates of blue and purple and scarlet yarns around its hem, with bells of gold between them, a golden bell and a pomegranate, a golden bell and a pomegranate around the hem of the robe. And it shall be on Aaron when he ministers, and its sound shall be heard when he goes into the holy place before the Lord, and when he comes out, so that he does not die. You shall make a plate of pure gold, and engrave on it like the engraving of a signet, holy to the Lord. And you shall fasten it on the turban by a cord of blue. It shall be on the front of the turban. It shall be on Aaron's forehead, and Aaron shall bear any guilt from the holy things that the people of Israel consecrate as their holy gifts. It shall regularly be on his forehead, that they may be accepted before the Lord. You shall weave the coat in checker work of fine linen, and you shall make a turban of fine linen, and you shall make a sash embroidered with needlework. For Aaron's sons you shall make coat and sashes and caps. You shall make them for glory and beauty. And you shall put them on Aaron your brother, and on his sons with him, and shall anoint them, and ordain them, and consecrate them, that they may serve me as priests. You shall make for them linen undergarments to cover their naked flesh. They shall reach from the hips to the thighs, and they shall be on Aaron and on his sons when they go into the tent of meeting, or when they come near the altar to minister in the holy place, lest they bear guilt and die. This shall be a statute forever for him and for his offspring after him. So, the role, these garments are intended to be beautiful, and God has described what they are to look like, and he's anointing certain craftsmen to make them in the way that he wants them. So there it is, chapter 28 of the book of Exodus. I'm sure that's some really good reading right there. All right, so we're on chapter 27, money, love versus Christian. In the last chapter, we were talking about buy-ins and about, Mr. Money Love, yep. And basically, Mr. Money Love, he loved to give away money. That's what he loved to do. He just, anytime that he had money, he would just give it to people, because that's the kind of guy he was. He's just like giving all the time. He never thinks of himself. He only thinks of others. JJ's even staring at me this time. Here's Kimberly to say how... Is JJ doing the synopsis?
Well, she's fine. You're fine. Okay.
Here's Kimberly to say how it really happened.
Sorry, JJ. So, how it really happened was Money Love, I forget his name. Oh, Buy-ins. Money Love and Buy-ins, they were like, yeah, we believe in God, but we don't really, do anything about it. we'll just go to the heavenly city eventually, at this far off day, some other time. And I think that that's not a very good philosophy. And I'm gonna hand it off to Dad, who's going to read us a story.
Hello, I'm back. I'm also front. How is everyone? Okay, so this sounds so beautiful. I wonder if we'll get to see it. Oh, that's a good point. We might get to see it. I don't know exactly what people will be wearing in heaven. That's a good thought. We need to see the sign "Holy to the Lord" on our forehead. Yes, that's a very good idea. All right, so now we're on chapter 27. I need all of my children to sit up and pay attention to the 4 pages that we're about to be reading. All right, chapter 27, Moneylove versus Christian. Mr. Moneylove, I see the bottom of your question, and with these gentlemen's good leave, I will endeavor to shape you an answer. By the way, the question is, may he not use this means to attain his end and yet be a right honest man? The means, you already described all that, right?
Basically, he just wants to sit around and do nothing and enjoy life.
Perfect.
Instead of...
All right, I see the bottom of your question, and with these gentlemen's good leave, I will endeavor to shape you an answer. And first, to speak to your question as it concerneth a minister himself, suppose a minister, a worthy man, possessed but of a very small benefice, and has in his eye a greater, more fat and plump by fat. He has also now an opportunity of getting it, yet so as by being more studious, by preaching more frequently and zealously, and because the temper of the people requires it, by altering of some of his principles. For my part, I see no reason why a man may not do this, provided he has a call, aye, and more a great deal besides, and yet be an honest man. For why? His desire of a greater benefice is lawful. This cannot be contradicted, since it is set before him by providence. So then he may get it if he can, making no question for conscience' sake. Besides, his desire after that benefice makes him more studious, a more zealous preacher, etc., and so makes him a better man, yea, makes him better improve his parts, which is according to the mind of God. Now, as for his complying with the temper of his people, by dissenting to serve them, some of his principles this argueth. Number 1, that he is of a self-denying temper. Number 2, of a sweet and winning deportment. And number 3, so more fit for the ministerial function. I conclude, then, that a minister that changes a small for a great should not, for so doing, be judged as covetous, but rather, since he is improved in his parts and industry thereby, he be counted as one that pursues his call and the opportunity put into his hand to do good. And now to the second part of the question, which concerns the tradesman you mentioned. Suppose such a one to have but a poor employ in the world, but by becoming religious he may mend his market, perhaps get a rich wife, or more and far better customers to his shop. For my part, I see no reason, but this may be lawfully done. For why? To become religious is a virtue, by what means soever a man becomes so. Nor is it unlawful to get a rich wife, or mere custom to my shop. Or more custom, to my shop. Besides, the man that gets these by becoming religious gets that which is good of them that are good, by becoming good himself. So then, here is a good wife, and good customers, and good gain, and all these by becoming religious, which is good. Therefore, to become religious, to get all these is a good and profitable design. This answer thus made by Mr. Moneylove to Mr. By-End's question was highly applauded by them all, wherefore they concluded upon the whole that it was most wholesome and advantageous. And because, as they thought, no man was able to contradict it, and because Christian and Hopeful were yet within call, they jointly agreed to assault them with the question as soon as they overtook them, and the rather because they had opposed Mr. By-End's before. So they called after them, and they stopped and stood still till they came up to them. But they concluded as they went that not Mr. By-End's, but old Mr. Hold the World should propound the question to them, because, as they supposed, their answer to him would be without the remainder of that heat that was kindled betwixt Mr. By-End's and them at their parting a little before. So they came up to each other, and after a short salutation, Mr. Hold the World propounded the question to Christian and his fellow, and then bid them to answer if they could. Then, said Christian, even a babe in religion may answer 10,000 such questions, for if it be unlawful to follow Christ for loaves, as it is, how much more abominable is it to make of him and religion a stalking horse to get and enjoy the world? Nor do we find any other than heathens, hypocrites, devils, and wizards that are of this opinion. Heathens, for when Hamor and Shechem had a mind to the daughter and cattle of Jacob, and saw that there was no way for them to come at them but by being circumcised, they said to their companions, if every male of us be circumcised, as they are circumcised, shall not their cattle and their substance, and every beast of theirs be ours? Their daughters and their cattle were that which they sought to obtain, and their religion the stalking horse they made us of to come as them. The hypocritical Pharisees were also of this religion. Long prayers were their pretense, but to get widows' houses was their intent, and greater damnation was from God their judgment. Judas the devil was also of this religion. He was religious for the bag, that he might be possessed of what was put therein. But he was lost, cast away, and the very son of perdition. Simon the wizard was of this religion too, for he would have had the Holy Ghost, that he might have got money therewith. And his sentence from Peter's mouth was according. Of course, that is from the book of Acts, which we read in an earlier live stream. All right. Neither will it go out of my mind, but that man who takes up religion for the world will throw away religion for the world. For so surely as Judas resigned the world in becoming religious, so surely did he also sell religion and his master for the same. To answer the question, therefore, affirmatively, as I perceive you have done, and to accept of as authentic such answer is heathenish, hypocritical, and devilish, and your reward will be according to your works. Then they stood staring one upon another, but had not wherewith to answer Christian. Hopeful also approved of the soundness of Christian's answer, so there was a great silence among them. Mr. By-End's and his company also staggered and kept behind, that Christian and Hopeful might outgo them. Then said Christian to his fellow, if these men cannot stand before the sentence of men, what will they do with the sentence of God? And if they are mute when dealt with the vessels of clay, what will they do when they shall be rebuked by the flames of a devouring fire? That is the end of chapter 27. So we will do chapter 28 next time. God bless you. And looks like
I finished this in 4 pages.
Oh, it's so cute. It's a snowflake.
No, it's a daisy.
it's a daisy. It's a blue daisy. Okay, so thank you so much for listening and paying attention and following along. And we will see you again next time, which is hopefully tomorrow. God bless you. Have a good night. Thank you.